Hello and welcome back, Starseeds. Welcome back to Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So today we're going to be talking about glitches in the matrix. Are they real? How do they happen? What do they mean? All of that. And this was a video that I promised to do because I did a poll in my Instagram stories. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. Lots happens in the stories. About did you want to have a video on NPCs, non-player characters, or glitches in the Matrix? And it was pretty much like even. So I said, okay, I'll do both. I've done NPCs, so here we are. Okay, so we're going to talk about glitches in the Matrix, but actually just before we jump in, I want to remind you to check out the links in the description of this video. So underneath this video, you will see some links there. I really want to encourage you to join the membership group. We do live events 3 times a month. We have a really beautiful new membership space that is hosted by my website, where we're doing things like not just the live events, but challenges, group chats, updates, leaderboards. Like there's a lot happening in there, and it's a really fun space to be. So check that out, and just know that you don't have to do it all alone. Like you didn't come here all the way to Earth alone. We all came together, and we're all awakening up in different waves. And so there's a lot of people that are awake just like you. You're not alone. You're not going crazy. It's okay if you find that in your physical life that there aren't a whole lot of people that are like you, right? Why does that happen? Why is it that everybody that feels like a starseed or awakened is online and not in your real physical life? The reason for that is starseeds are intentionally spread out around the globe. So if you think of the globe of Gaia, did you see that orb as soon as I said that? It just went, okay, so if you think of the globe, if you think of Gaia like a globe, which it is, and then you think of each starseed on there like little pinpricks of light all spread out so that we can affect as much of the area as we can. Like we need to spread out so that there's not very many of us just in comparison to like the collective, the main population. So we kind of have to like spread ourselves out, not spreading hopefully too thin, but this does account for things like starseed loneliness, feeling like you're all alone, feeling like no one gets it, and all of that. Okay. So join the membership was the whole point. Like just go check it out. Just click on the link and see. You'll love it. And it is so, so powerful to do things in a group setting. Everything becomes more powerful with a group intention, including healings, meditations, experiences. We are literally experiencing miracles and blast-offs of upgrades and ascension and all of these things that we're learning and doing and becoming and evolving into. You don't want to miss that. Come on over. Okay, so let's talk about today's video now. So glitches in the 3D matrix. Well, let's start with what is the 3D matrix? What does that even mean? Isn't that just a movie? That movie is so accurate in so many ways, but yes, that is a fictional movie. So what is the reality around what is the actual matrix? So people that have like studied this a lot, like people that have studied this a lot, that have had incredible downloads during like psychic moments, like what's the other thing that people use? It's that really powerful plant medicine, and it's a drink, ayahuasca revelations, you know, those are always good. And then people like me that download this information or channel this information through higher sources with clean and ethical channeling, downloading it from God source or whatever word you prefer, the Galactic Federation of Light, the Council for Humanity, any real councils of light, galactic beings, other timelines of Earth, like however you want to connect to it, the information that comes through is the same. That Earth is a hologram, that Earth is a simulation. And so you can look up simulation theory and go down that rabbit hole. In fact, go ahead and do that after this video, of course. Because it's really, really interesting, but only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Because the thing is that when people learn that we are living in a simulation, which is a hologram and very, very highly advanced, they tend to get very apathetic. And then they're thinking, they get very depressed, they get very apathetic, like, well, then it doesn't matter what I do. Nothing matters. Why try? Okay, here's the reason why. Just because you're living in a simulation or a hologram simulation, does that mean it's not real? No, it doesn't mean it's not real, because it just means it's controlled. It doesn't mean it's not real, because the souls are real. The people in it are real. That's what makes any world real, is the people in it. All the souls are real. That's not a hologram. That's not a simulation. That is real. Okay, the souls are real. What's not real is the story. The story is what's not real. Okay, so again, does that mean that this world isn't real? No, it does not, just because it's a simulation. It means it's controlled. It means the people are real, the souls are real, you're real, I'm real. The storyline is not real. Okay, so you can think about a storyline like a timeline. When people use the word timeline, you can think about that as, this is the storyline we're on. And if the timeline shifts, we're on a different narrative, a different storyline. Okay, so it is like being trapped in a false timeline, or in a false storyline, or in a manipulated, forced storyline where things don't add up and it doesn't feel right, and it causes people to awaken from the dream, because something in their soul is telling them, wait a minute, something's up, right? But then you can live very awake and aware inside the dream. Like, you're still in it. We're still in the simulation. We volunteered as starseeds to actually do this, believe it or not. You may not feel like you volunteered, but I have seen so many people's Akashic records that feel that way. And when we go back far enough, you did, in a soul contract, volunteer to be of service. And you can read, what is her name? Oh, that author that's so good, Dolores Cannon, I think. Dolores Cannon. She talks about the 3 waves of volunteers. I think we're beyond 3 waves, but that book's a little old now. It's incredible. So go ahead and check that out. Okay, so where were we? So it's like being trapped in a false timeline or a false storyline where things just don't feel right, but you feel really real, but a lot of it doesn't. And then the people that are still plugged in feel strange, like zombies or sleepers, right? It all makes sense when you watch The Matrix, right? Because you can really see, even symbolically, how that represents everything that's happening with us now. But just because you're trapped in the false timeline, which is the collective timeline or the main timeline, what does that mean? The main timeline or the collective timeline is the reality that is created by the majority and their frequency. So the majority of humanity has this power to them. It's called the collective. Their state of being, their emotions and their thoughts create the main timeline that we all have to experience. And that pretty much says, like, the main, like the larger global events, the rules of the reality, and all of that. However, as a starseed and somebody that's awakened, you can create your own personal offshoot of a timeline. So if the main timeline's here, you can go, whoop, I'm just going to live up here. And you can live in this personal offshoot. And you can create it. And I have done that. And many people have done that. And we're living in this much higher frequency where we're living our dream reality, like, hello, like business CEO, like having your own spiritual business. Shout out to Starseed CEO. If you need help with your business, I can help you with that. Links below for that as well. Okay, the point is, you can have a higher timeline, you can have a higher reality, because you know how to create your reality, don't you? We all know. It's a secret to the collective. You think everyone knows this, but they don't. Not everybody read the book The Secret. Not everybody has tested this and seen that it's true. And I feel badly that they don't know, because that keeps them powerless, but there's a point to that. And those of us that are awakened, we wake up and we learn things like, we are sovereign creators of our own reality, and we are creating our tomorrow from the frequency in the heart. The heart is hundreds of times more powerful than the brain as a creator, as a portal of creation. So how you feel in your heart, so that is your emotions, your subconscious feelings, your like set point of your frequency. What's your set point? Where are you normally? You know, just because you have super high, great days, but what's your average? That's your set point. And that's what you want to rise, is your average. Because that is what's creating your reality and your tomorrow. So yes, you can create a different reality up here. However, you will always have energetic cords that lead you back to the main timeline. You can't fully disconnect. Okay, as a human, we're in human bodies. We cannot fully disconnect from the collective of other humans. We are also a part of the collective. And so that is why you will feel the emotions and the frequencies of the collective and be like, is this mine? where is all this grief coming from, or where is all this anger coming from? And you need to be careful and recognize that that could be coming from the collective through these connected cords to you. And also your timeline is connected to the collective. That's not to punish you. That's so that you can be of service. Because when enough of us lift up our timelines and ourselves, then the whole collective rises. And that's pretty much the point, right? To help people awaken is the goal. People do have to awaken in their own time. So I would even say actually the higher goal is to assist those that are newly awakened to step into their own power. If you can just empower people to be their own creators, then you would be doing a service to the entire world. Because the more of us that rise, then the whole collective main timeline, our reality here on Earth rises. Okay, we went off on a tangent about timelines. Let's move on. Let's talk about the glitches. That was the whole point of this. Okay, so there are two main kinds of glitches that I have uncovered. If you know of more, if you intuitively please pop in the comments for everyone. We all have a piece of the puzzle. Everyone has a piece of the puzzle. I don't know everything. And I love when I can resonate with your comments as you're resonating with this content, or you wouldn't probably be here. So two different kinds of glitches. Here's what I know. The first kind is timeline interference. This is done through tech that could be from off-world tech. So like there's a lot of technology that the dark governments or what do programs, shadow programs or darker programs have that they don't tell us about. Like they're not just going to tell the public about disclosure either. Like they know they've already been in contact with the aliens. They know so much that they're not telling us about the moon, aliens, other worlds, and tech. Okay, so what has been leaked and a lot of us have uncovered is that CERN, C-E-R-N, you can go down the rabbit hole of CERN if you want to, which is the Large Hadron Collider. I don't know what it does. I mean, I do know what it does, but I'm not going to try to describe it to you. I'd rather you just, I'm not a scientist, go check that out. But when they turn that on, we experience timeline interference, which is one of the main ways of creating glitches. I'm sure they have other tech too. That's just the only one I know of, okay? So timeline interference comes from the outside. It's almost like a malevolent thing where they're trying to shift us to a lower timeline, okay? It's not a good glitch. We'll talk about good glitches though. So this is like the less good one. What does the timeline glitches look like? They are Mandela effects. Please research Mandela effects. There's another rabbit hole for you, but that one's really important. Mandela effects are clues that we are experiencing massive glitches. Mandela effects are when half the population remembers something as one way and half remembers it as the other way, because there was like a glitch in time that, or even like a timeline convergence, where these people experienced the Berenstain Bears, like those kids' books, as the Berenstain Bears, and we experienced it as the Berenstain Bears. This is all about spelling. You can look up the Mandela effect of the Berenstain Bears. This is very real, you guys. And we experienced it as the Berenstain. I'm on this team, by the way. It's Berenstain Bears, not Berenstain Bears. But anyway, then the timeline converges, and then you have two different, like, huge sections, like half the globe and the other half of the globe remembering it in completely different ways. And then, but we're both so certain. We're both so certain. And it's like, what was real? Okay. So Mandela effects are like things like that. One of the newest ones that actually me and my husband found was we were in the grocery store and I picked up this bottle of sriracha, but it was spelled like sriracha, like S-R-I instead of S-I-R. And I was like, and it had like a weird feeling to it too. I'm like, did we just step into an alternate reality? Since when is it sriracha? It's always been sriracha. So what team are you on with that? Because these Mandela effects are very real and so crazy. It's called Mandela effect because Nelson Mandela is one of these things where half the population remembers him as being imprisoned and dying in prison. And then the other half remembers him being released from prison and becoming like the president or something like that. Not of the US, president of his country. Okay. I'd be here forever if I tried to explain to you all the Mandela effects. There are so many and they are so interesting. Go and check them out. So basically that's a glitch. Huge, huge clue that something just happened with the timelines. Somebody's messing with our timelines. Also, memories of the history and past feels different between different people, same kind of thing. Timelines converging is what I described to you, where like the populations of two different worlds come together and then they can't agree what past was real because they were both real, but now they're creating a reality together. That's a timeline convergence. A timeline shift is when something shifts dramatically, like in 2020, we shifted dramatically down, actually. No, I'm doing this because it was definitely one of these. We definitely dramatically shifted in 2020 into like a mainstream frequency of more fear and control and manipulation and those games. I mean, everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say 2020, but you know I can't say it on YouTube, so I'm not even going to try. But those games that have been played for the last 2, now going into 3 years, were definitely a timeline shift into where the shadow governments, elites, dark agenda people are trying to have more control over humanity and the energetic output. The war over Earth, which I plan on doing a video on, I have it written down in my book right now, is really about that, the energetic output of humans and how it can be used to do so many things, but we deserve free will, right? So again, like key up the matrix and see how we were all batteries for energy. And that's a very literal way of something that's more energetic. Okay. What else? Timelines. Yes, they are the storyline. Okay. And then just something to remember so that you don't get freaked out is that even when you experience a timeline shift like that, it does not take away your free will. Just because the hologram is in a weird false timeline or storyline does not mean you are not real. It does not mean your life does not matter. Actually, you matter. Even like it's even more powerful that you need to be here. You have a huge purpose and an Earth mission, and I do plan on doing also a video about the Starseed mission, just so that we're super clear. I know I talk about it here and there. Let's do a whole video on that. But the point is, it doesn't take your free will. That's what I wanted you to know. They can't take your free will. Nobody can take your free will. You have free will and you've chosen to awaken, and you can choose to see these glitches, and you can choose to create that higher timeline to help kind of lift things up where you don't live on the main timeline, but you kind of like dip back in every once in a while. Every time you have to go to the grocery store or travel somewhere, you'll see what the new dealio is with all of it, but it doesn't affect your personal life, if that makes sense. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the second kind of glitch, which is more of a personal one. It's not coming from outside of you, it's coming from inside you. You're the one creating it. And it's a positive glitch. The positive glitch that you are creating is frequency incompatibility, right? Doesn't sound positive, but it is. So basically what it is, like in layman's terms, you are vibing too high for some areas of this simulation, and there are like weak spots that can't hold it, or you're having a surge of a super high frequency and you glitch out the simulation, okay? So for living inside of a simulation and a hologram, it is directly affected by energy and frequency. Everything is frequency. So if you just have the most insane spiritual experience, you've got a Kundalini rising that just takes you to source, basically, and back, you are going to be glitching for days, okay? So because your frequency is so high, it is incompatible with the hologram reality that you're living in, because they are trying to keep, as you can see in the media, the mainstream media, they're trying to keep this hologram at 3D. That's where they have the most control. That's where they, and when I say they, that's a whole video. I can't go there, but it's like, just think of it as like shadow beings that are off-world and on-world, darker agenda beings, darker agenda governments, elites, secret societies, the billionaires, the big pharma, the corporations, and all of that. There's a lot of people in on it. Like, you know, like the top 2% or maybe more now of people are in on it. And so that's they for easy things, unless we want to do a video on what that is. Okay, so what was I talking about? Okay, so they're trying to keep the hologram at 3D. That's why it's called the 3D matrix. Some people say it's the 3D AI matrix, 3D simulation, 3D hologram. It's all the same. It's powered by the collective. And remember at the beginning, we were talking about how the collective doesn't know that. And so they just keep outputting what they're being plugged into. So mainstream is feeding them fear, give us fear. It's like them receiving fuel, like fuel up the world with more fear. Ooh, I'll give you something else to be afraid of because you're not that afraid right now. Okay, and then they get this wave of fear from the collective. Maybe they want hate, anger, separation. They keep feeding it to them through things like mainstream media, but through other ways as well, to receive a huge energetic output that supports the world that they are trying to hold us in, which is that false timeline, false storyline, which is the 3D matrix hologram simulation. Okay? Okay. So then you come along as an awakened soul. Already your frequency is much higher than that. And then you start working on your spirituality. Maybe you're doing heart healings, chakra healings. Maybe you're working on the Kundalini rising. Maybe you're playing and experimenting with light language, channeling, astral travel, meditation, connecting with other awakened souls, having really powerful, enlightened moments of like awareness, like self-awareness coming through. You are just going to be glitching it out all over the place. So what would that feel like for you? That would feel like time acting weird. So I did a reel on this on Instagram and I didn't realize how hard it was going to hit for people. It was just called Time's Acting Weird and it just hit like over 40,000 views. Because it's, isn't that proof? Isn't that absolutely proof? Like time is acting weird. So I had a week where I never experienced Wednesday. Like yes, I know what a calendar is. Yes, I do work. Like all the people that had like, oh, maybe you need a job. I understand how to read time, a calendar, and I do have a job. But it did not happen. Okay. Like I was Monday, Tuesday, and then it was Thursday. And it's like, it's very confusing, but I'm just telling you that time can do this. Other people get stuck in time. It's like they just spent an hour reading and 2 minutes went by. And just imagine all the other ways that time can act weird. And I have like hundreds of comments on that reel where you can go and check it out right now and see what people are experiencing. That's one glitch. Another one is reality melting, shifting, or snapping. Let me just explain that because again, it's very personal to how you experience it. Here's how it happened for me. I had just finished a workout and I was laying on my back and I was looking up at the ceiling and I had a light on the ceiling. And I was looking at it and all of a sudden the whole thing shifted over here. It just went and it almost had like a sound, like this weird blurring sound. And I was like, and then it snapped back. And if I hadn't been looking, I don't know if I would have noticed. I would have felt something, but I don't know if I would have seen it. Does some, just paying attention to, does reality melt or shift or slide and then snap back? That's a glitch. And that's actually happening to more people than you probably realize. You are not crazy. Okay. The sky is another one. So many people will have something weird happen with the sky. They're looking at the sky at night and something glitches, or the ocean and it glitches, or the sun and some, just around like the sky glitching out in some way. You see something and it's gone, like a weird something, or it loops up and then gets glitchy and then starts flowing again. You're like, did it just rewind? Like what just happened? Or seeing two suns or two moons, like just all these crazy things. Are you taking like a video game? Like if you were in a video game and it was an old video game, like, the very first Nintendo with like the flip top thing and you had to blow in the cartridge and put the thing, it was like super old. And then you're trying to put in like a something new. Like, I don't know what, I'm so going to date myself right now. I was going to say like putting in a CD. That's super old now too. Trying to like plug in like a brand new, like, video game with like the graphics being like, and you try to play that through an old system, it's going to be all like, imagine what would show on the screen. It'd be like like super glitchy. That's you're the new system and we're in an old system. Okay. Other things other than the sky, which I mean just the sky in general, other things are extreme awareness, but like a moment of such crystal clarity that it almost feels creepy. Have you ever had that happen? Like it feels like being, I don't know, I guess like really, what's a word? Like, I guess being like super like high or stoned, but you're not. Okay. but not in that negative way. I don't want it to be connected to any negative connotations. I'm just trying to like see how some people might be able to like understand this. For somebody else, maybe they would understand when I said like a Kundalini rising or an enlightened moment or a moment of such unbelievable self-awareness that you can't, you can feel every cell of your body and you're freaking out a little bit. Okay. So extreme awareness, like waking up in a dream. Like if you have had one of those moments, that's a glitch. Like you just woke up and you're like, and you look around, you're like, oh shit, everything's so clear, way more clear than it was a second ago. And these moments can only last a certain amount of time. And then you kind of fade back in. That doesn't mean you lose your awakening. You are awake within the matrix, but you kind of like burst through the illusion and you're like, whoa. And then it's natural to slowly go back into it. And sometimes that can feel like the feeling of deja vu. And sometimes it can just feel like overwhelming, right? So let me know if you've had that happen to you. And then other things that can happen are electricity or tech glitches, like computers, phones, things. I mean, if you're glitching at a high frequency, you can glitch at the stuff around you for sure. Clocks, printers, computer, phones, I don't know, lights, anything really. And you kind of just like have to trust too. Like sometimes you'll just get like a feeling like you just know, okay, stuff's acting weird, or okay, we be glitching here, folks. Like you just know. And the more it happens, the more you'll get used to the feeling. And the more self-aware you are, the more you will get to notice these things. So get out of here and live in here, embodied, live in the body. Get out of, if you're living in a mental space always, you're always up here, then you're just living in racing thoughts. You're living in the past or you're living in the future. You're not in your power and you're not in the now and you're not creating your reality intentionally. So that would be something like to take away from this video. Get out of your head. That is do whatever you can do to get out of your head and live like at least 80, 90% of your time in the present moment and in your body. It will change your life. Okay. So, and then other things that can be glitches, which I did a video about, were NPCs and agent smiths. So go check out, or maybe I will hook up, I will tag whatever it's called on YouTube. What is it called on YouTube when you add? It doesn't matter. I will add the clickable next movie that you can check out. Might be showing up already because we're at the end of the video, for the NPCs video. I talk about Agent Smith syndrome and how it really happens, and it is like a glitch, and NPCs, non-player characters, are they real? So you probably, if you like this video, then you're definitely gonna like those videos. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna do like just a quick reminder to check out the membership in the links below, because we are doing big fun things, amazing, powerful things over there. And other than that, please like this video if you liked it. Please comment about your own personal experiences with glitches. I will just know and expect that time is going to be coming up in every comment because that's like the most popular one. And then please share this video because people don't understand the glitches, that they aren't anything to be afraid of. They don't understand how to empower themselves. They don't understand that we're in a simulation or a hologram. They don't understand any of this, but they're trying to. And so when they find these videos, when you share a video, the people that it's right for will magnetically be attracted to it. Divine orchestration will lead them to it. But it does mean that it's very helpful if you share. So please share so that more people get that opportunity to find this information. And then of course, don't forget to subscribe for new videos here every single Sunday. I will see you over on Instagram with lots of new content over there in my stories. I will see you all, probably lots of you, in the membership. And other than that, I want to remind you, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you're in. Thank you, beautiful starseeds. Have a great day. Bye.